flights are grounded. The remaining flights are 10x for the tickets that used to be. So there are no new rules now in US. Even if you have visa, there are guys called ICE that...
Yeah, they can kick you out. Yeah.
So we are the only country in the world right now, UAE, that in a large-scale military attack and aggression, like more than 2,000 projectiles being launched, had a success rate of intercepting above 95%. Yes, there are scenarios everyone might die tomorrow. Before the war, the most overused word was luxury. Now it's distress deals. Yeah, everything is a distress deal. My cat pressing random buttons has higher chances of being accurate than Bloomberg does. Many countries lost their doers population, not thinkers, but doers population, and those who can create value to UAE in the last 5 years.
Welcome to the podcast, Kamel. How are you?
Thank you very much. Can't complain.
Actually, it's very interesting. I was just having a look on how many podcasts that we've done in last because my channel is like 6 years old, but I think I met you 2.5 years back. And the first podcast was very interesting because I was very curious to know from you, how did you end up in Dubai? Because you are from Russia, and actually Russian region of Dagestan. And I was in Azerbaijan during that time of my family visit in Shahdag area. And the driver or the tourist guide I was with, he told me that this just across the border you will find Khabib's town, hometown, which is Dagestan. So, and then that same day I saw someone sharing your video, and I watched your video. And then in that video you told me that, I mean, not me, but in the video that you are from Dagestan as well. Mm-hmm. So it was very interesting. So how is it like we've known each other for last 2.5 years now? And now that it's completely different scenario that we are going through in Dubai, we never thought we will be encountering missile and drones. I will talk about your progress during this 2.5 years as well. But one point, and I think it's a very, I would say, controversial point, because you have strong opinions about a lot of things. You mentioned in one of your Instagram videos that Dubai will see 25% price appreciation until September of 2026, which is really a strong opinion. So first of all, tell us a bit about yourself, and then this question of mine.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, it's really been like long time. Now we know each other. And we discussed some things that back 2 years back, and I think it's good time to reflect on them also. And regarding the forecast that you mentioned, yes, I did a statement saying that there is a scenario where we will see 25 to 50% range of growth of real estate that we might see in autumn, probably till mid-winter. So autumn or mid-winter, we may see this kind of growth. Not September specifically, but closer to winter. Mm-hmm. There are specific reasons for that. I did like 25 minutes video explaining 8 pieces of puzzle that bring you to that conclusion.
So what would be the highlight? Because I know, there is a lot of negativity once it comes to Dubai. So I'm sure you will be also encountering these kind of comments and messages. But what kind of main points that you can highlight where you think that the population will grow from here? Because right now, earlier we were thinking about 4% annual growth. But what is your take on now the situation after everything we've seen?
Well, if you want to seriously analyze this situation and to understand where it might be moving, there are, let's say, many scenarios what can go worse, many scenarios what can get better. So there are extreme sides of possible scenarios. So you put them on the table, and then you put chips on what you believe will be more likely. So yes, there are scenarios everyone might die tomorrow. So what's the probability of that, right? And if you put that chips and try to measure the chances for each scenario, then you might be more clear with what your next steps are. In the scenario where we might see the real estate growth, because that's the main thing that I do, there are some conditions to be met. First, we need to see the agreement in place, peace agreement, regardless what kind of agreement it is. let's say, until midsummer, because end of summer and beginning of autumn is when the business activities start in UAE. Then there are other conditions. Let's say the move, the current dynamics of energy crisis, it will be worsening. It will not be improving. Even if we end war tomorrow, we start, and the Hormuz Strait is open. Since Iran closed it, this problem of the war in GCC region, it's not on this level anymore. Since they closed the Hormuz Strait, it became a global problem. And now almost all the world's population and world economy is in trouble, not GCC countries anymore. If production facilities were hit and restoration, starting from tomorrow, restoring the full capacity of oil and gas production will take from 18 to 60 months, as per official statements. For example, gas facilities in Qatar will take 60 months to recover, 5 years. That means that the production and the supply of energy in general will be cut naturally because it's destroyed, right? So it takes time, first. Second, someone will put toll booths on Strait of Hormuz, either be Iran or US or
someone else.
Or tomorrow Pakistan decides that they can build a third line, their own. In our world, whatever can happen. So what is the important underlay of economy is insurance. Now, insurance went from, if I'm not mistaken, from 14 to 40 basis points. And now any oil tanker, any ship leaving Strait of Hormuz is way more expensive. And without insurance, no ships are moving anywhere, right? So this 1 billion vessels cannot be traveling, taking chances.
While I'm coming to the podcast, I just saw the news that Iran has said that now until ceasefire date, we will be letting all the tankers go pass by. So for now, at least it's open, but you never know because the ceasefire is not permanent.
So I hope they will reach some agreement. I hope, even if tomorrow there is no toll booth, strait is open, etc., insurance and the cut in supply will mean that we will not go below $90 or $100 per barrel, if you talk only about oil. With these prices, you can already see what is happening in Asia, all Asian markets and Australia, right? Also, in 6 weeks, we are eating up reserves in Europe, in the UK, and then we need to replenish them from somewhere. And this somewhere is not identified yet.
They will not take from the big country that you are from.
They might want, but accidentally, it's just a coincidence. Ukraine's drones deliberately hit the exporting terminals for gas and oil facilities. So 40% of exporting powers and stocked energy resources in that ports in Russia are hit.
Okay.
Accidentally, So someone wants Europe to suffer on, remaining accessible energy and to buy it, let's say, from US with 10x the price. But that's just a conspiracy theories, Yeah. So what happens tomorrow? If $90 or $100 is now permanent bottom line price, we will inevitably in winter see energy lockdowns. When you have 100 facilities to share energy as a government and you have power only to maintain 10, you will use that power for critical infrastructure, schools, hospitals, facilities that have strategic importance. So people and businesses will be inevitably facing like energy cuts. You can use 4 hours per day electricity or heating or whatever because there is no supply of it, right? Flights are grounded. The remaining flights are 10x for the tickets that used to be the prices before the war. So in these conditions, if that's the new reality for the coming, years with this energy situation, you as any kind of business owner, employee, whatever activity you do, if you are not on a pension with a lot of money in your basement, uh, what are your options? You're either sitting and quietly looking at your business dying, because without energy there is no business you can do, or you need to move somewhere, right? That was exactly the choice people had after COVID. Where you can move. You cannot move from one energy deficient country to another energy deficient country, right? So, what are the energy
Surplus.
surplus countries?
Yeah.
Russia, Iran, Venezuela,
Or
US,
US.
US, and GCC countries, right? So not a big choice
Yeah.
globally. If you can get to US with your small business or mid business or whatever business you're doing and thrive there, welcome. Again, if you get the visa, and then if you are not if you are not taken to custody right from the airport, despite you have a visa, right? So there are no new rules now in US. Even if you have visa, there are guys called ICE that anyway
Yeah,
will
yeah.
take you
They
somewhere.
can kick you
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah. They have a law of jungle now. So that's one scenario where you can go. Other scenario is the one of GCC countries. Given that there is agreement, there is no more war, where you are going? Saudi Arabia lost time on giga ambitions, and they lost that time to prepare infrastructure for large expats migration preparedness, right? So they're not prepared to absorb businesses and families moving. Qatar, Bahrain, other countries that are too small. UAE is the only country that has enough infrastructure, capability, and rules in place and everything ready to absorb the new wave of migration. This wave of migration, I call it energy refugees.
Okay, energy refugees. Good for my thumbnail title.
So once you have these points in your mind, like why this scenario can happen, then you evaluate where your life is worth. Yes, in Dubai there were drones and missiles coming from Iran, right? So it's not safe anymore. Like that kind of talk. Well, we had for 11 million population, we had 11 casualties because of these attacks, right? So we are the only country in the world right now, UAE, that in a large-scale military attack and aggression, like more than 2,000 projectiles being launched, had a success rate of intercepting above 95%. So the safety in UAE now has a battle-tested badge of honor, regardless of what, let's call it, soft buns analytics in YouTube tell. I like things to be proven, right? If I'm moving my family somewhere, if in this country, in the worst case scenario, still my family is better than with street crime levels in majority of other countries where you can move, still it's better to be here.
Yeah.
So yes, there is this kind of events that happened in Dubai, and it defended its status and population and business way better than any other country. And then you have another choice. You have energy 10x the price, electricity 4 hours per day, and no business you can do. So what do you choose? If the choice is not one is the perfect world and other one is with some deficiencies, but if there are bad situations in two places, you compare how bad it is, right? So
Yeah, you're right. So I want to just check with you about this because you're coming from Russia, where they are in the state of war for like 3-4 years now, or even before, but in major war. What happened to the real estate market there? Because a lot of people moved from there, especially for like in this region. But what happened there in terms of real estate, and what do you think of aftermath of the war here in this region as well?
well, two things. First, even in the country that was directly in the war, the real estate market didn't crash. There are still transactions going. People are still parking money in real estate if it's the only class of assets that can hedge them against inflation and against rising prices, right? So the market didn't crash there.
In Russia?
In Russia.
Yeah.
How many brain cells have these people that are expecting crash in UAE? Because there were side effects of a war that UAE didn't participate in, right? It's like expecting a market crash in Finland because it's next to Russia and Ukraine, and Finland had 3 or 5 projectiles that fell on its territory because of this war, right? So we had 11 projectiles that fell on the territory. Everything else was intercepted in the air. Did anyone expect Finland's real estate to crash because of Russia and Ukraine war? If yes, then it's fair to say that here we have the same condition. Of course, I'm not saying that everything is moving the same way it was. The market reaction was pretty predictable. First, it was pause in number of transactions. So people were trying to figure out what will happen next. Then we've seen that by the end of March and like a week even before the ceasefire was announced, we've seen a lot of transactions going through. And me personally, with my clients, we've been also doing pretty well. And frankly speaking, I was more busy this time than before the war, because those who don't live here, those who are professional investors and seasoned investors, they see the worst situation in the market in the last 5 years, right? So it's a signal for investor that there should be some good opportunities to buy something.
Yeah.
And then comes the challenge, and why market was paused is because anyone who wants to buy now, he wants some decent discounts, he wants favorable conditions. And then you have sellers who are not suffering yet any losses, who are willing to wait, who are not willing now to give you any 10% even discounts. So when their expectations don't match, no deals are happening. So that was the pause, right?
Yeah.
I have on the phone more clients wanting to buy something, but they want
Some distressed deal.
Yeah, that the most overused word now. Before the war, the most overused word was luxury. Now it's distressed deals. Yeah, everything is a distressed deal. So these expectations of sellers and buyers, they didn't match. Where you can create a match is developers, because they're more flexible. They launched some projects before the war started. Now, they're sitting on a lot of cash, right? They might pause the sales even for 2 months, saying we're not selling anything until the market stabilizes. It will be still fine for them. They're not struggling like in other countries. But developers want to launch next projects right after the war, and they were more flexible with, let's say, DLD waivers. If they pay on your behalf 4%, consider it a discount, right, on the total investment amount you can do. Or with a couple of developers, we worked on specific payment plans that meet expectations of investors right now. Investor is saying there is an uncertainty in the market, and I'm exposing my capital to this uncertainty. What I get for that? So what developer can answer is, let's say you are paying not 20% down payment, but 10%. We are paying 4% on your behalf, and your next 10% payment is coming in, let's say, 6 months. Because every investor agrees that this war, and especially effect on UAE, will not last long, right? So 6 months is pretty decent horizon. So for that 6 months, you are exposed only to 10% of your capital. Next 10%, and then in general, during construction, you are paying not more than 50%. Some developers gave us 40%, some gave 50% during construction. So that payment plan matches the risks that investors take, kind of risks during this uncertainty. So that was better fit then. And I've seen so many random moves in the market right now, and people who are running around trying to find some ready properties, distressed deals, whatever, I don't know, and buying properties that didn't make any investment sense even before the war. Like if someone gave me 30% discount on that properties, I wouldn't buy them, because they're not investment, they're just housing. So these kind of assets, they were wrapped as a response to this war and sold as a distressed deal.
Distressed deal. Okay. Now, incidentally, you've mentioned Finland. I have seen people mentioning that Dubai is in a very unstable region where you have Iran just 100 kilometers away, and it's crazy in this area. How do you want to invest in such cases? But I always tell them that see Finland And see, if you want, you can just go and see how the geography of Finland is. It's just besides Russia, and it's having a very long border with Russia. And imagine Ukraine, Russia nearby, and Sweden as well, and these countries. Plus, not in today's world, no country is immune to catastrophes. Like Japan, take an example. It's very far away, but earthquakes are there. So you cannot say that a country is immune to such kind of things. I think the leadership of the country or the country itself is judged by how it responds to the impacts that are created around the world or to itself. So I think Dubai has, or UAE has in general, has done a really good job mitigating that. Now I want to understand from you one thing. I don't know if you remember this. Just when the war was starting up, at that time, Ohana, a big developer here in the UAE, they sold out in Abu Dhabi. Like I was getting crazy just to see that news. I thought that it was like maybe some kind of fake news, but it turned out that they were actually selling out, and there is no inventory anymore. Who is actually buying in these days?
Well, I can't say who are the buyers in that specific project because I had some concerns regarding it. But anyway, it was sold out. Who are the buyers right now in general that I know and who we're working with is, those who are not living in UAE and for whom real estate is investment. It's not a home to live in. So they were looking at it as a opportunity to get the advantage of this situation. And most specifically, it's those who had big investments before. So if you are already, let's say, 50, 60 million into real estate in UAE, and if you are a professional investor, there are rules of this game. It's not just random running around. Let's say stock market. If the stocks, if you're exposed to some stocks and they're going down, and you see that it's not because fundamentals of the company changed, but it's current market sentiments, you are not selling at this point.
Yeah.
You are buying
Actually
more
buying, yes.
to have your average acquisition price to be
100%.
to be lower. So you need to buy more. So these are the same investors that have real estate here. So that's why they're saying, okay, I have exposure to this project. Maybe I can add some more units in the strategies that in which I bought these units, let's say for long-term rents, for offices, etc. And they were adding to their portfolio. It's not because you want to take more risks, it's because you have to play the rules of this game. Like in healthcare, if you have some conditions of a patient, you need to treat them in a way that is proven, right? Not in a way that came to your mind after reading the news.
Right.
So they were acquiring more assets to meet the to lower the acquisition prices of their portfolios.
So mostly it's, and I think off-plan mostly it's from the overseas buyers. So even looking at the news and everything, but still people are buying. So they are someone who are actually aware about the grand scheme of things, and they think that it's just a temporary blip. And we have seen in past as well. Even stock market, you've seen now everything is up because real estate takes time to go up and go down as well. So it takes time. At one point, I remember I was telling someone that if you want to sell your ready property in Dubai, you will be able to exit at 15% or 10% negative. While in the stock market or gold even, you were not able to exit at this level. You are 20% down, 15% down. While Dubai, which is illiquid asset, you still are able to exit at 15% minus. Now, I want to also check with you and discuss with you about this negative connotation given to Dubai. We've talked about Moody's, Fitch ratings last time as well, and they've been wrong all the time. Now, I've seen this article in FT, Financial Times, and they've mentioned that 1 in 8 British citizen left Dubai, while they could have said that 90% of British citizen remained in Dubai.
Yeah.
But they had to mention like this. So what do you say about these negative news or press for Dubai?
Again, we are not in this podcast. We are not selling anything. We are not sugarcoating, right? Just observing. Take Bloomberg and Financial Times and Daily Mail. These guys had their moment. That was the only moment in 4 or 5 years when they had an opportunity to write. And they were utilizing it, having fun. Bloomberg did, if I'm not mistaken, 12 articles saying that now Dubai real estate is done since 22. Imagine.
Since 22.
Yes, since 22, 10 or 12 articles where they're saying Russians are leaving Dubai, prices are expected to go down. That was in 23, 24, right? Then it was oversupply is coming, prices are going down. And then a year after this article, 6 months after this article, of course, you see nothing is happening. My cat pressing random buttons has higher chances of being accurate than Bloomberg guys, right? So they became kind of meme. That whatever Bloomberg says, it's the opposite to the reality. So that's the barometer you can use.
Yeah.
Leave them alone. Daily Mail was coming with, we had a drone interception that fall on Fairmont Hotel in Palm.
The first
right?
one, yes.
Yes. So it fell near the entrance to the Fairmont, not on the hotel itself. So the cost of the repairment of the damage was 2,000 dirhams,
Yeah,
right? So
I saw
less than
that, yeah.
$1,000. It was next to the restaurant, a nice, if I'm not mistaken, Brazilian restaurant. And the chef was shouting, in the kitchen like, "These guys destroyed my restaurant." So that one event was filmed from approximately 100 million different angles. Photo shot, video shot, etc., and then used in an article saying that Palm Jumeirah turned into a fireball.
Daily Mail.
Daily Mail, I think it was, yeah. So
They're the most sensation producing.
they like the clickbait, etc. But Financial Times now, I think they're struggling with views or whatever is happening. Why they, once upon a time serious media outlet would turn into a clickbait. You utilize that maneuver, So, as you mentioned, 1 in 8 UK residents left Dubai because of the war, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to say what? That 90% stayed.
Yeah.
Even under the missiles, UK residents understand that their personal situation will be worse in UK,
Yeah.
right? Maybe they will be robbed. It's called taxing in UK, by the way. Or maybe they will get stabbed. Or maybe they get the lifestyle that is 3 levels below what they get in Dubai. So they stayed, as many other people, like where would Russians return? Where would Ukrainians return? Where would people coming from after India's and Pakistan's tensions, where would they return, right? So then there are a lot of other people who are living here and calling it home. They're not returning anywhere. So media is in direct correlation. By the way, the state-owned media or state-controlled media is in direct correlation with, and its negativity, is direct correlation with how many taxpayers the country lost. So, who was the most fierce in lies about current situation? UK. then it was Russian media. It was
Russian media as well.
Yeah, they were showing this like Dubai is done,
Yeah,
any country.
Actually, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you because I want to talk to you about this because RT, I really I always think that, okay, now RT has become better than, let's say, CNN or BBC. But this time I've seen them retweeting those things which are completely absurd. And I've been asked by my friend in Canada that, okay, this happened. I said, no, nothing happened. I don't exactly remember the news story that they were breaking all the time. But RT was crazy this time. It was not at all unbiased.
Every country, because of its inefficiency, some nonsense regulation, laws, taxation, safety levels, many countries lost their doers population, not thinkers, but doers population, and those who can create value to UAE in the last 5 years, right? So there are big communities from each country living here that came there with their capital, with their businesses, right? those people who just lay on the sofa and watch TV, they didn't move, right? So the active population that creates added value and taxation base in that countries, they were constantly losing this population to UAE. So it's natural for them to utilize this moment to show, you see, that place is not that good as they were told. And as those people who moved there, now, how do you feel now? Huh? You were saying Dubai is good. How
Safe?
about now?
Yeah.
So they were utilizing this moment to show the population that is in the country that Dubai is not good at all. That people who moved there, they're suffering. They have their own problems, etc. But the facts tell the opposite. Out of 8 residents, only 1 returned to UK, and out of that part, by the way, 50% are now back because it were Easter holidays.
Yeah.
It was
Ramadan,
online.
Eid.
It was Ramadan, Eid at the same time. It was the debris and the drones, and it was distant learning, right? So the schools went on distant learning, and then if it was extended for another week or two, by the way, we're returning to schools on Monday, but if it was extended, then it would match with spring break. So people were naturally utilizing this moment to adjust their plans. Now when they're coming back, well, these media outlets are not saying that, if 1 out of 8 people return to UK, now 0.5 of them get back to Dubai again.
They will not mention this.
Of course they will not.
Yeah. So you are 100% correct, and this is not the mainstream media. It's across board. If you see social media, and even under my videos, you will see negative comments. I'm sure you also are having this kind of.
Let me guess who writes the negative comments. It's the people who live back in your country. Let's say your country is Pakistan, mine is Russia, right? But negative comments will come from people who stayed back in that countries, who might be wanting to have what you have here.
Yeah.
Or to have the work or the outcome or the financial situation, but they cannot for some reason.
Yeah.
Or they cannot have the same in their own country, or they cannot move here, right? So it's their moment to say that, you see, you are not also so well off over there.
Yeah.
So how about now?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Now, I want to get into one of the topics that you discuss, and I really admire you for that, because I think the first video, when I asked you, where should we invest? And you mentioned Expo at that time. And I think you repeatedly said that at that time about Expo. And after that, of course, there is a shelf life of one project, and then you moved on. I think Dubai Island after that. So what do you think and see in such cases, and how do you find out these areas? And what is the next investment opportunity as per your vision?
Okay, so now we move from negative news to the question where to invest, right?
Yeah.
So for Expo City, we were putting a financial model where any unit you buy, let's say any one bed in any project across 5 projects in Expo City, if it generates 1,000 dirhams per night, then you will be witnessing 15+% rental yields. There are other parameters in that. There are other parameters in that financial model, but just to make it short. And actually, from the beginning of 26, we've seen Gulf Food, World Health Expo already happening in Expo. And I've been asking people how much they're paying during these events. So to validate my own assumptions, my own model. And the replies that I got made me even more optimistic about Expo and about our investments down there, because people were paying above 1,000 dirhams in any given location that was at least 30 minutes from Expo. Some of them were staying for 1,200 dirhams per night in Deira and traveling from Deira to Expo. Imagine. So that was, let's say, one of the areas where we had a lot of units purchased by my clients, and my fellow brokers did a lot of transactions there. And that's a frame that I use, or lenses, as I say, to see where the added value is coming. Where's the gap? Yeah, because we should separate 2 different processes. there is home buying or buying housing where you buy, you live there, you don't expect it to make you richer. And there is real estate investment where you have gaps in the market, more demand than supply, there is scarcity, or there is something uniqueness. So if you're investing in real estate, there are, as I said 2 years ago, 3 areas where we're doing it: Expo, Dubai Islands, and Dubai Water Canal.
Mm-hmm.
So the reply now is the same.
Our reply is the same.
It's the same 3 areas.
Okay.
And if you check them as an area on DXP Interact for the last 2 years since we did first podcast, it's still the same, and numbers now prove it.
No, what I mean to say now is still you're saying Expo, although it's not developed as of now, because JATEX is going to come there, and for sure there would be more demand there. Of course, airport will come later on, but do you still think that the kind of the extent of profit that people can make is still the same as before?
Let's say it's nothing changed a lot because the developer, Expo Developments, who is in charge of this full area, they're government backed, and they are not. The first priority is not profits. Let's say, of course, profits are also a major point, but they need to develop this area and to create it as a main hub for doing business in Middle East, for doing any exhibitions, any it's a first window for anyone doing business from airport, 4 minutes, any kind of business activities, big corporations, government services, exhibitions, free trade, etc. Because it's also a free zone. So they are not increasing prices from launch to launch dramatically like a commercial developer would do if he sees demand, right? So they need to develop the full area. So it's not in their favor to do that. So it means that you have longer period when you can enter. And still anything we can buy now in Expo still makes a lot of sense for short-term rental model. And there is also a long-term rental model that we can tap on later because there will be townhouses, villas projects coming, and they make a lot of sense. You will have 35,000 employees sitting in big corporations' offices over there, and you don't have enough supply for them. Everything will be on short-term rentals.
Yeah, so once you mention Expo, it means you're talking about Expo as a developer, or you're talking about the area itself, because there are multiple other developers like MR and other developers as well. So how do you differentiate this, or you are like saying that Expo is the thing to go?
Well, we did our investments inside Expo Free Zone. Inside Expo area and Free Zone, there is only one developer, Expo Developments. With all due respect, there are MR, other developers around, but they will not have the benefits of being inside Expo City. One of them is, let's say, free buggy service. If your property is in 3 kilometers from the entrance to exhibition center, that will be, that 3 kilometers, you will be taken with a free buggy to the entrance, right?
Free buggy from any residential tower.
Exactly. They call it Expo Loop. So
Okay.
it's like a public transport with the golf carts inside the area.
Okay.
Right?
It's not going to be true for the buildings nearby the mall itself for the from MR. It's not going to be the case.
Where the exhibition center is situated, it's where where is the border of Expo as a free zone and as a domain where Expo Developments works. After that border, where MR Mall is, etc., it's let's say neighboring area that might be for these particular scenarios, short-term rentals, tier 2, tier 3, whatever. But I think from the payment plans perspective, from benefits you get inside, and from the value for asking price you get, the sizes, etc., still it doesn't make sense to go for other developers.
Okay. Now, and so you're saying still Expo, Dubai Island, and Water Canal. These are the go-to areas that you should think about.
Yeah, correct. And what I do is, if I have my own funds, I invest where I'm advising. Because I'm doing these assessments for myself. and I bought just in the middle of the war. I bought a 11 million dirhams property on Dubai Islands
Okay.
with Mr. 8 Development, and together with opening my own company and buying 11 million properties, I'm doing in the middle of war. It shows you that I have a lot of confidence in
And you've got a stake. And this is very important because I see a lot of agents, brokers not having any stake, not having any properties purchased by themselves, and still advising people about where to invest, which is not making sense. I'll come to you about this, your next venture as well, because this is very interesting. But let's finish this part of investing. There are two more questions I have from investing perspective. One is about the, let's say, what should I say? Okay, what are the, because whatever price point we are looking into Expo or let's say Dubai Island or let's say Water Canal, these are above 2 million most of the time. What are the options for people who are having less than 1 million of a budget?
I got a comment under one of my videos saying, yeah, we got it. Now we got it about penthouses and buildings and all that stuff. Make a video for us, for poor people. Where should I invest? And it was a comment from an interesting person. He made a lot of funny comments, by the way. So I'm making a video that will be called investment video for poor people to respond to his comments. And I consider myself also one of them, one of poor people, because I will be buying, inshallah, I hope so, in another 2 or 3 weeks, I will be buying one of these projects where I can get one bed for less than 1.1 million. So,
less than 1.1 million.
yes, with a 50-50 payment plan.
Okay.
If you are looking for properties in that caliber, of course, it will be emerging areas. It's not in downtown, etc. So out of emerging areas, you need to evaluate where you have more chance for that property to generate decent rents, because we're not talking about a lot of appreciation in that price bracket. But if you get close to 10% rental yields, your resale price will be calculated in a formula where this 10% on secondary market will be calculated as 6% from your resale price. So there is a big gap where you can make appreciation. Of course, if you find property that from original price has the potential to generate 10%. So that's the game for these lower ticket acquisitions. And how it usually works, we know from examples that we had before. Take a developer that is now well known, Imtiaz, or Ellington. When they started their first projects, I remember we were buying Imtiaz's first project called Westwood in Al Furjan.
Yeah.
The people who bought properties there, they made 70-80% appreciation, because the key for these small ticket purchases is to get times more value for the asking price. So Imtiaz delivered a lot of value with this project. People entering when the property was ready were asking, really, I get this for this amount of money? I get this kind of property?
Yeah.
What happens when you put this property on rental market is that you cannot ask the same price as just ordinary buildings next to it. It should be the highest price in the area, right? Because it will be the best building in the area if they all were priced at the same level when they started. So when you get higher rents than anyone else, naturally the resale price will go up. And that's not theory, that's proven fact across the projects. When Imtiaz was delivering, when they started, and then they were in the middle of projects in JVC, like construction was 50 or 70% done. With some of the projects they launched, Westwood was handed over. These projects under construction went up in price 20-25%.
Because of the reputation of the
Yes.
delivered one. Yeah.
So now people know what to expect from Imtiaz. Latest handover, I was like 2 days ago on the handover of the properties we bought with them in Dubai Islands. We were buying that.
Oh, Dubai Island is already delivered now from
Yes,
Imtiaz?
the
Okay.
first handover was by Imtiaz.
Okay.
See.
Okay.
So I identify in any area, identify what are the most valuable strips of land first. Because let's say Dubai Islands is massive, right? You can't invest everywhere. Where's the most valuable strips of land? Will be the first question, and then only I go to the level of developers and projects. So I think that the most demanded strip will be between beach and the mall, because these are the two reasons why.
But would you be able to get under 1.1 million there? I
No,
don't think
we
so.
were buying there at 1.8, 1.87 something. Now these same properties on resale are 2.7, 2.8,
Of
2.9
course.
million.
Of course. Yeah.
Where you can buy 1.1 now is the same example. There is a developer called this Mr. 8. I bought they have no delivered projects yet, but I bought a project in Dubai Islands on the plot that is next to this handed over building by Imtiaz.
Okay.
So it's 11 million for a 4-bedroom double height duplex apartment. There is a logic why I bought bigger apartments there. So the same developer now will be building their first project in DLRC
Okay.
with the same approach, same design language, and it looks better than majority of high-end developers in Dubai. I would say it's one of the best in terms of quality you get inside the selection of material, the design, etc. So with that approach, they're coming into affordable segment.
Okay.
So what will happen to this 1.1 when you see something close to these standards delivered in DLRC?
Definitely it will have some good impact. Now you've mentioned before as well, and I agree to this, that there is always a debate between villa, townhouse versus apartments. And like I know many people prefer living in villas, but at the same time my family personally prefer living in apartments, and there are many people like that. But you always say in terms of investments that once people tell you that let's say we prefer villas and townhouse because they will appreciate more. So what do you say about that? Like investments in Dubai are like that you always have to invest in villas and townhouse to get more appreciation, or apartments do well as well?
It's a confusing and a bad frame to look at what appreciates better in terms of type of asset. Let's say apartment, townhouse, villa. There are trends on the market. Let's say a trend was that after COVID, we didn't have enough supply of townhouses, villas, and they started appreciating. Now, the last year, we had more than 40-something thousand units, villas and townhouses combined. In any community where you have townhouse and villas mix, 60 to 65% at least is townhouses. That's how math works for developers. Now, if out of these 40-something thousand units, 65% will be townhouses coming to the market, and all of them were bought, majority of them were bought as an investment. And they are all copy-pasted, like you will have lanes of similar properties, streets of similar properties, right? What is the reason someone will pay you some kind of premiums if there is another and then another and then another unit? In this situation, the pricing power is with the buyer, not with the seller. And you will not see some decent appreciations. You cannot compare this situation to after the COVID situation. So once people did these kind of premiums after the COVID, the agents and the market, they take this as a fact that it will repeat itself after 3 years. Because if you buy any property today off plan, it will be delivered in 3 years, and you expect the same returns. It will not happen. Not because market changed or Dubai is bad, but because at that time there were, let's say, 2 townhouses for 10 buyers. Now we'll have 11 townhouses for 10 buyers. So you cannot expect one class of assets performing the same way through 2-3 years times periods. Just look at number of units launched. And then another thing is, if I want, for example, I wanted to invest, let's say 11 million dirhams. I could buy a villa or a townhouse, but I bought an apartment in Dubai Islands, and I did that with a simple logic. out of 35,000 units in Dubai Islands, 87%, if I'm not mistaken, will be 1 and 2 beds. And then out of remaining 13%, you will have 3, 4, 5 beds combined. Half of them are 3 beds. So for 4 and 5 bedroom units, all the villas, townhouses, and apartments combined, you will have less than 5% of total supply in Dubai Islands. And Dubai Islands is the only place in Dubai's coastline where you have school, mall, hospital, the golf courses as a full infrastructure for residents. So dream case for any resident in Dubai is to live next to the beach with this full infrastructure, parks, malls, hospitals, correct? Any resident will not mind living next to the beach, right?
Yeah.
So on top of it, put on this, out of this 5% in Dubai Island supply, we are less than 1% in total supply for Dubai, right? With the 4, 5, and 6 beds. On top of it, try to find any decent quality among these this supply. So there is a scarcity inside the scarcity inside the scarcity, like a Russian doll, this matryoshka.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Plus the fact that I don't understand for myself and my family, for a townhouse or even a villa which doesn't have a lift, or even if it has an elevator, the concept of living in 2 different floors with a family of kids who are small, it doesn't make sense. I want to see them all the time. So apartment give me this flexibility to have it on 1 floor, all of them. So it's always good to have a big apartments. And it's a very niche market, but there are people who actually needs bigger apartment to live a quality lifestyle, let's say having a good sea view and everything. So I think we are a bit short of time, but let's say if I want to segue to something that we discussed in the first video and in the first podcast, where you mentioned that you always want to have this kind of scenario for yourself, that you want to remain working for someone because it makes sense, and it is also giving you less risk for your career. So you've been working with one of the good brands here in Dubai, but now just you told me that you are moving to your own business now. Tell me something about that, because during the war, now you already told that you've invested during the war. During the war, when people are not taking too much of risk, now you're making this move of opening up a new business. And what kind of business is that? And don't you feel a bit worried that all the regional situation is?
Well, I remain, I'm sticking to that point that if you want to do brokerage and if you want to be selling properties, it doesn't make sense to open a new brokerage in Dubai.
Okay.
Let's say if you have decent volume of deals, you reach that point and you're thinking of opening a brokerage, you will be losing more than what you can pay to the brokerage for, let's say, renting the infrastructure, and you just focus on sales.
100%.
It's still the point. And what I'm doing now is changing the role because I couldn't fit into that anymore. I've started consulting developers. My first contract started working where I am helping them to understand how, on the concept stage, what to build.
Okay.
And why they need to build this on this particular plot.
Okay.
And the second dimension that I want to start is developing refurbishment and developing myself projects, small ones. Again, I cannot do that as a broker. So because of these 2 dimensions, I had to open the company, not because I wanted to. And of course, brokerage is part of it, but I'm not looking into, hiring a lot of agents and focusing on brokerage part. I'll be still consulting and doing deals with my clients myself, but these 2 dimensions are more in the input, at least on paper now, in the plans, than the brokerage part.
No, I'm sure once we meet again, maybe 1 year later, you will be definitely.
We can reflect on that.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, this is very interesting that you're now taking this step. But from this point, I was just thinking that during this war, do you think that the developers are going to launch less number of projects. This is the general perception in the market, is that they are going to come up with a less number of projects until the market stabilize, or because now you are into the similar domain that you are going to, let's say, give consultancy on this specific thing. So what do you say about that?
Some developers will pause their pipeline of launches definitely because they want buyers to have more certainty. Majority of developers, what they're doing, let's say if they were planning on this plot, they had a project ready, they were ready to start constructing, they start constructing, but they didn't start sales.
Okay.
They have enough money.
Okay.
They see that the cost of materials is going up, right?
Right.
So they are stockpiling materials now. They are
Okay.
buying aluminium, steel, concrete in advance, right? And they start constructing because they don't want to start sales now. But they have enough power to build without even selling. So they will launch projects later with already progress in construction. First point. And second point is, if, let's say, if someone is watching this podcast and thinking of, or he's watching because he's interested in investing in real estate, an advice I can share is, because of rising cost of energy and construction materials and upcoming inflation because of the energy prices, developers will not be physically able to start new projects with lower prices than before.
Of 100%.
Right?
Yes.
So if you were planning to buy something, buy before they launch with the new pricing first. And second, the projects that were launched before war, they are priced with the previous assumptions, with the previous model. They cannot reprice them. So better deals now are not chasing distress, whatever 10% discounts on not valuable properties that are on the market now. Better deals are to lock in better payment plans now
100%.
with the old prices.
Yes.
Because you are exposed less with the capital.
Yes.
If you consider these risks, you are exposed less first, and second, you are locking in current prices before the new pricing of materials, energy, etc.
100%, because this is one point, because eventually things will get better, and the developers, as you're saying, that they're doing a very, I mean, they've done a fantastic job just starting the project. And we've seen even in this age, in this time, there are projects which come very late, and the building is ready almost, and then 6 months down the line it will be handed over, and they are launching now. And it doesn't make sense earlier, but now it makes sense that they foresee such kind of thing. And maybe a new developer is there, they want to show something first and then put a good price, rather than having less price and selling all in the beginning. This is a very good strategy, I would say, from the developers. Let's say down the line, 1 year down the line, as you're saying, 25% expensive properties would be there. Do you think in general properties would be expensive after everything is settled down?
If you're planning to invest 1-2 million dirhams now, that will be the cost of the studio in a couple of years. So
2 million dirhams.
Yeah, because you are not going back in pricing in anything in this world, right? 25% increase in price will be inevitable if, let's say, materials cost goes from 30 to 70% up, right? That cost in the cost of an apartment sale will be around 10% increase.
Okay.
And then put on top of it that you will see, let's say, sum up the population of the countries that will be affected by energy prices. It's all the Europe, UK, and it's almost all of Asia and Australia combined. If after COVID, the exposed population that was moving to Dubai was a couple of countries like Russia, Ukraine, and UK, maybe another couple of European countries, now we have half of the world that will be affected. If from that population, let's say 3-4 million will be moving somewhere, That is half of UAE's current population, right? We're a very small country.
Yeah, yeah.
What happened when 20% growth in population happened after COVID?
Hmm.
We've seen 40 to 60% appreciation in real estate, right?
Hmm.
So what happens when 50% of current population of UAE will be trying to get in?
Hmm.
On top of the rising prices of materials, everything else, you might be shouting that it's not sustainable, it's not affordable, it's not this, it's not that, but the train is moving. No one is asking you if you can afford it or not. If you cannot move, that will be the case, because there are millions of people standing on the border. And
Who are
if
ready
I
to?
were government,
Yeah.
I would say, okay, now we have a bit stricter rules. You can't enter for more than 15 days as a tourist, first. Second, if you want to stay, at least 2 million, at least you get the golden visa, right? The rules are the same. 2 million at least in
For the golden
property
visa.
purchase,
Yeah.
or you open a business, or you make a bank deposit.
Hmm.
So out of that 4 million, 5 million, whatever amount of people will be trying to move in, as a government, I want to select those people who have enough liquidity, who can create value, who can add value to economy, and that would be okay for the government. They should be pursuing the interests of their country.
Right. Thank you very much, Kamel. And it was nice
Thank
meeting you again after maybe 8 months. And hopefully, we'll meet again. And in a better position, we can see both of us as well as the UAE. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Walid. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.